Hey everyone, welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. My name's Abby and I am a career and interview coach, and I am here to help people just like you feel more confident and strategically prepare for their job search and upcoming interviews. Today I want to share with you the top 10 interview questions that you could face during an interview. Before I jump into those 10 questions, I'm going to cover the changing interview landscape, why it's so important to prepare for these types of questions before your interview. I'm going to share my preferred method for crafting your answers to any type of question. I'll share 3 bonus behavior-based questions that are the employer's way of sussing out if you're going to be a good fit for their organization or not. And I'll also touch on how you can close your interview in a strong, confident way and follow up like a pro. So let's dive in. Interviews today are not what they were even 5 years ago. So let's unpack the shifts. First, tech is everywhere. Virtual interviews have surged since 2020. And now virtual interviews are usually standard for at least the first round of interviews, if not for the entire process. Second, adaptability is king. Employers really want proof that you can pivot. Think pandemic level curveballs. Third, culture is huge. With remote and hybrid work, your fit into the culture really matters. So employers are interested to know if you're going to fit their vibe. So really, in the last 5 years, it's less about your resume, less about the specific experience that you're bringing to the table, and more about how you fit into this changing world, specifically the changing world with this organization. So let's talk about the rise of remote interviewing. Remote interviewing isn't just interviewing in person with a screen. It's its own game. So the 3 big things that you have to ensure are perfect for your remote interview include tech setup. Bad Wi-Fi or poor lighting can sink you. So you want to make sure you test everything ahead of time. Difference number 2 is your presence. You've got to project your energy through the camera, which can be really hard when you're sitting in a room by yourself facing a computer screen. Sit up, smile, make eye contact, and use your hands. Difference number 3, environment. A cluttered, messy, or distracting background, like your messy bedroom, being in your car, or experiencing interruptions, can really impact how the interviewers feel about you during the interview. So my quick tip, do a practice run the day before with a friend. Whether your interview is on Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, or another similar platform, practice with someone ahead of time. Test your connection, test your lighting, ensure that you have a clean, clutter-free background. The other thing to keep in mind when preparing for interviews is that soft skills are the new hard currency. The 3 most important soft skills that employers are looking for: communication, collaboration, and resilience. When it comes to communication, can you articulate your ideas clearly? This is very important when it comes to interviewing. If you cannot articulate your answers to interview questions in a clear and concise way, they will make assumptions about your inability to communicate effectively. When it comes to collaboration, are you a team player? Are the answers you're sharing during your interview displaying your collaboration skills? If not, you might not be a good fit for the role. And resilience. Can you bounce back? Your answers should be able to demonstrate your resilience both in and out of the workplace. So why are these 3 skills ones that organizations are looking for during the interview process? Well, companies are looking for people who can really thrive in uncertainty, whether it's through screens or in person and across a desk. So show off your communication, your collaboration, and your resilience through stories. These are stories that you will tell in the answers to the interview questions asked of you. Don't just say it, prove it. So let's see how to do this with the top 10 interview questions that you could face in your next interview. I'm going to dive deep into the first 3 and then cover the next 7. So first and foremost, 99.9% of interviews will start off with a question like, tell me about yourself, or a variation. This is not a bio dump. Think how you can showcase your strengths as it relates to the position that you are applying for. Now, I've got many videos on the topics of how you can answer tell me about yourself. But some of the most important tips are keep it short and concise. About 30 seconds to 90 seconds is the sweet spot. No more than 3 minutes. This goes for every interview answer. Do not take more than 3 minutes to answer an interview question. When it comes to answering tell me about yourself, use a structured formula. My preferred method is present, past, future. Talk about where you are currently, who you are, what you do. Talk about what you've done in the past that makes you a good fit for this role, and then connect the dots about how you're going to be a good fit for this organization by showing them your vision for how you fit in. Keep it relevant and tailored. Match your story to the needs of the organization for this interview. If you're looking for examples on how to answer tell me about yourself, check out the link in the description box below. I have an entire playlist with videos on how to answer this question, and several of them share specific examples on how you could answer this question. Question number 2, why are you interested in this position? Employers are looking for passion. They're not looking to hear, I need a paycheck, even though you might be feeling that way. So tailor your answer to this question. Why do you really want this position? Think beyond the compensation. Research their mission, their vision, their values, or their recent wins that they've published on their social media sites or their website. And then link this to your skills and what you bring with you to this interview. Be very specific. Generic answers will always flop. So for example, you could say something like this. Your focus on innovation grabbed me. I've led projects cutting process time by 20%, and I'd love to contribute here. Question number 3, what are your strengths and weaknesses? When it comes to answering this question, you've got to be honest but smart. Highlight job-relevant strengths and tame weaknesses. When it comes to answering the weaknesses part specifically, end it with growth. Show how you are learning or improving with this weakness. Show that you're proactive. So an example of something that you could share for a strength might be, I'm a problem solver. I revamped our scheduling and saved 10 hours weekly by automating the process. And here's a weakness example. I used to shy away from public speaking, but I've joined Toastmasters and now I lead meetings confidently. So now let's touch on the remaining 7 questions. These are going to be rapid fire with some quick tips on how you can answer them. So question number 4, what is your greatest achievement? Pick something impactful that's relevant to the job and quantify it. Use data and metrics and connect the dots as to why this specific achievement or accomplishment is relevant to the job that you're interviewing for. Question number 5, where do you see yourself in 5 years? My tip for this is to blend your personal goals with growth in their organization. If you're planning on retiring, don't say that you're planning on retiring. Try to think long-term and what they might like to hear about you being with their organization for the next 5 years. Weave that into your answer. Question number 6, why are you leaving your current job? When it comes to answering this question, honesty is not always the best, especially if you're leaving the job because of a toxic work environment or a bad boss. Don't focus on the gripes, focus on opportunity. Focus on your personal growth and development, not the fact that you're trying to get away from a toxic environment or a bad boss. Question number 7, how do you handle stress? In this case, you want to share a story where you reacted calm in a high-stress situation. Question number 8, what's your salary expectation? Now, I have a whole bunch of videos on the topic of how to negotiate salary. If you haven't already, I recommend putting my salary negotiation playlist on your list to watch next. However, there are multiple ways to go about this. You could put the ball back in their court and try to get them to share a number with you. Or you could give them a range and let them know that this may change based off of what you learn about the position in the upcoming interviews. Just know that if you give a range, the employer will likely be looking closer to the bottom of that range. In my opinion, it's always better to get them to share a number first before you share a number on your end. Question number 9, tell me about a time you worked on a team. Share a story of a time that you worked on a team and experienced success and your role in achieving that success. And question number 10, do you have any questions for us? Never say no to this question. Always come prepared with questions to ask at the end of an interview. Now, I have many videos on questions to ask at the end of an interview. I've linked to it in the description box below. I recommend preparing at least 3 different types of questions to ask. A role-specific question, a culture-based question, and a hard or hesitation question. Now, if you're not sure what these are, check out my videos on questions to ask at the end of an interview next. So those are the top 10 questions that could come up during your next interview. When it comes to answering any of these questions, be sure to use the CAR formula to help you craft a compelling story that answers their question. CAR stands for context, action, and result. This is a concise formula that allows you to structure your answers in a systematic, clear way so that you can provide concise and compelling stories. So a quick example of a CAR response might be like this. Our team was consistently missing deadlines. I noticed this and I decided to create a tracking system. And this resulted in us cutting our delays by 25%. Practice your CAR responses. It's concise and powerful. When you are responding to interview questions, the more you can quantify your achievements, the greater impact your stories will have. Numbers make vague concepts concrete. Employers love numbers. So instead of saying something like, I improved sales, you could say something like this instead. I boosted sales 15% in 6 months. If you don't have exact numbers, make an estimate. Something like, I saved 5 hours weekly, or I trained 10 new hires. This is where the preparation is important. Dig through your old projects and your old experience. Find your numbers before the interview. And here's a quick tip. You can bring notes to an interview. Write down those numbers. Write down those things that you would like to share so that you don't forget them during an interview. Bring those notes with you so you can refer to them during the interview. When it comes to answering questions, practice, practice, practice. It's very possible that the exact question that you've practiced during an interview will not be asked during the actual interview. However, if you've practiced and you've prepared your responses to certain types of questions, you will likely be able to slightly tweak your responses to the question in real time. Practicing your delivery ahead of time will enable you to have a greater chance at a smooth delivery in real time, rather than just winging it. I also recommend recording yourself answering these 10 questions. When you watch it back, look for the use of filler words. Listen to your story. Does it make sense? Is it short and concise? How long is your actual answer? As uncomfortable as it might be to record yourself and watch it back, it's very helpful information that will help you improve your interviewing technique, feel more confident, and prepared for the upcoming interview. If possible, use someone else to help you prepare, like a friend or a family member, or even someone like me. I offer one-on-one interview strategy sessions and mock interviews, and I would love to help you feel more confident and prepared for your upcoming interview. So let's talk about 3 bonus questions that could come up that are behavior-based questions. First, tell me about a time you failed. When it comes to answering this question, the employer is looking for resilience. Own the fact that you experienced a failure and then show your growth. What did you learn? How did you improve for the next time? So here's an example answer to the question, tell me about a time you failed. I missed a project deadline once due to poor planning. I owned it, rebuilt the timeline, and delivered early next round. When it comes to answering these types of questions, don't dwell on the flop. Focus on the lessons learned. Question number 2, how do you handle conflict? When it comes to answering this question, you want to show that you're calm and solutions focused. You could say something like this. A coworker and I clashed on priorities. I set up a quick chat, we aligned on our goals, and we hit our target together. When you're answering this type of question, you want to highlight your ability to actively listen and work together with the other person in a collaborative way. Handling conflict is something that everyone will experience. Sharing a story of how you've handled conflict successfully will pass the employer's test. And then, bonus question number 3, describe a time you went above and beyond. They're wanting you to prove your initiative and your passion. Share a story and make it memorable. So here's an example that you could share when asked this type of question. A client needed a rush order. I stayed late, coordinated with shipping, and the client ended up signing a bigger contract after. Tie your story of going above and beyond to the traits that the organization seems to value. Putting in a little bit of extra effort at the beginning to identify those traits and build a story that aligns with those traits will win. Now let's talk about how you can close your interview in a strong way and follow up effectively to leave a positive, lasting impression. First, ask insightful questions at the end of the interview. When they ask you that question, do you have any questions for me? You do not say no. You've answered all my questions. Instead, you have questions that you've prepared ahead of time that you're ready and eager to ask during the interview. Always have questions ready. It shows that you're enthusiastic and serious about this role. So some quick examples of questions that you could ask at the end of an interview might be, what's the team's top priority this year? Or, how do you measure success in this role? At this point, avoid salary-related questions or vacation and PTO questions. Focus on their world. At the end of your interview, remember to express gratitude and enthusiasm. The goal is to leave them smiling and feeling good about how this interview went. When it's time to wrap up, say something like this. Thanks so much for this chat. I'm really excited about the chance to contribute to your organization. Be genuine. Fake enthusiasm flops. They can see it from a mile away. And then finally, follow up after your interview with a thank you note, either handwritten or via email. I highly recommend doing this within 24 hours, ideally within an hour of your interview concluding. Just share a quick note, something like this. Thanks again for today's interview. I loved hearing about this specific topic. I'm eager to bring my skills to your team. When you send this follow-up email, it reaffirms your enthusiasm and your potential fit for the organization. It keeps your name at the top of their minds and ideally associates you with positive feelings. So that's your playbook to ace any interview. Prep using these questions and my tips, and you will shine. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you have any additional questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please throw them in the comments box below. I love receiving comments, and I'll do my best to respond to each of them individually. Just know that if I'm not able to, any comments that you share will likely help someone who's going through something similar in the future. If you're looking for more personalized one-on-one coaching to help you feel more strategically prepared and confident for your upcoming job search or interviews, please reach out to me today. I offer one-on-one interview strategy sessions, general career coaching, and mock interviews to help you do just that. While I have availability each week, my sessions do fill up quickly. So if this is something you're interested in, please reach out to me as soon as possible. I've linked to my website as well as my email in the description box below. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can continue to receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every week. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.